Welcome back. Now, our next guest this evening is a producer here at Islam Channel and also the founder of a podcast and YouTube channel called Dadhood. He aims to develop Muslim fathers through conversation and education. Joining us this evening to discuss how we can engage our children in learning the significance of Islamic events such as Hajj. A very warm welcome to none other than Muhammad Shuaib. Assalamu alaikum. How are you? I'm good. Back again. Love it because, you know, it's a fantastic topic we're talking about. And as we, you know, quite rightly, we were talking about Hajj. But is there anything from the Quran and Sunnah that can teach parents about how they can engage their children in Islamic topics?
Yes. Well, there is a story in the Quran that is directly related to Hajj that teaches this to us. So it's very, very sort of relevant and topical. There's a story of Ibrahim AS and his son Ismail. There's a story of the Qurbani, where we get the tradition of the udhiyah, the Qurbani, the sacrifice we make on Eid al-Adha. What happened, I think many people know this from childhood, but I'll break it down and give the lessons from how parents can learn from it in terms of how they engage with their children. So Ibrahim a.s., first of all, he makes dua to Allah before he's had a child. He asks Allah to grant him a righteous offspring. So not just a child, but he's got this foresight that I want to make sure that I have a righteous child.
Before you carry on, why is that in itself really important to make that dua?
Because number one, not everybody will be guaranteed children. This is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we make dua so that we hope that Allah gives it to us. And also we have the foresight that we know children are going to be difficult. So we're asking Allah to make it easy for us by giving us righteous children. So already, even before becoming a parent, you're already envisioning and thinking about how you're going to raise that and nurture that child. So he does that. Then Allah says, now he's going to have a patient child, Ismail a.s. And Allah uses the word a patient child because we see in the next ayah where Ibrahim a.s. before that, Allah says that when Ismail reached the age of maturity, reached the age where he could start working, is when Ibrahim came and he said, I have this dream that Allah is commanding me to slaughter you, to sacrifice you. And so he goes to Ismail and he says, what do you think? So here it's very significant because number one, Ibrahim a.s. is very aware that my son, he's not young anymore where I can just tell him what to do and he'll listen to me. Actually, he's a bit older now. So now I need to have a discussion with him. I need to consult with him. So instead of just saying, Allah commanded me, let's go and complete this task, he's saying, what do you think about it? So here, Ibrahim a.s. is teaching us that bring your children into your conversations, consult with them, you know, include them into the matters that you're going to go ahead and do your plans.
At what point do you even think like, that they're ready to take on such, you know, very adulty conversations?
Yeah, I mean, in order to know that is that you are already involved with your child from a young age. You're already involved in their life. You know their personality. You're already nurturing them so that when they do reach that age, it's natural to you that you know your child responds in this kind of way. If you weren't really involved when they were younger, how are you going to expect to have those kind of conversations when they're older? And this could be any conversation. It could be to do with, you know, the birds and the bees and that kind of stuff, right? But you can only really do that if you've built that trust. And trust is the next part. So Ismail, he replies and he says, yes, let's go ahead. Let's complete this task. You're going to find me willing to do this. Now, how can a child immediately have that response with their parent? The only way is that the parent would have built an environment of trust with their child. So it's clear that Ibrahim a.s. would have had that nurturing during the younger years so that Ismail, when he gets older, it's easy for him to trust, you know, his father. And then they go ahead and they do that. And of course, Allah replaces Ismail with an animal. And that's where we get the tradition of the Qurbani from. Two things I didn't mention, actually, is that when Ibrahim, he approaches Ismail, he says, oh, my dear son. He speaks to him in a good way. And then because of that, Ismail replies back, oh, my dear father. So here we get another lesson. So not only making dua for your child, not only consulting your child in matters, not only being involved in their lives and building trust with them, but also speaking well with them, because they will learn from you how to speak well back to you as well.
Well, I mean, you do see children, if they want something, they'll be like, oh, mummy, you're so sweet. You're so dear to me. Can I have da-da-da? And it's just nice to see that it kind of works both ways, that you know, you have to be on the level when it comes to respect and just, you know, just generally being, you know that this person, your child, is going to grow up, who is going to be having debates with you, conversations with you, that you have to develop that foundation.
Definitely.
If parents are not taking their children to Hajj, how can they teach them about it?
So there's loads of resources available now. There's loads of books out there, videos out there, and it really just depends on how old the child is and how you're going to educate them. So if they're quite young, you know, the toddler ages or the very kind of young primary school ages, then something which all children like, even adults, we like it, stories. Yeah. We watch our dramas, you know, and we get involved in them. Kids also like dramas, but they have their own kid-friendly versions of stories. And so there are many stories surrounding the season of Hajj, like the one that we've just mentioned about Ibrahim and Ismail AS. Yes. But there's also many other stories about Hajar, when she's running between the two mountains. You've got stories of the companions and how they did Hajj. There's so much material out there. And so what you could do with your young children, just create a story time in the evening, you know, put some pillows on the floor, get some snacks out, and have that time where you as a parent, maybe if you don't know the stories yourself, there are many books out there now that you can just open the book and read it out to them. So that's if they're quite young. If they're a little bit older than that, then I'd recommend using videos. So if you go online, on Islam channel or any other sort of online video platform, there are many cartoons out there that explain the steps of Hajj. And so that could be quite engaging for the kids of that age. Maybe they're a bit, you know, they don't really want to sit with their parents, but they'd rather watch something. So that could be a way of doing that. If they're in their teenage years, then something that is quite effective and that I've done with school kids that I've worked with in youth clubs is creating a project for them. So have a family project where you know that teenagers are going to be on social media, on the internet. So make that productive. Tell them, okay, you have a week in these 10 days of Dhul Hijjah, the special 10 days. Let's take a week out and you're going to create this project of presenting information about Hajj. How does Hajj work? What are the virtues of Hajj? What are the benefits of it? How do you go about doing it? What happens in day 1, day 2, day 3? And leave them to it. You know, let them go on Wikipedia, online, on social media, YouTube, whatever it is. Let them find that information and tell them whoever does the best presentation, they're going to get a prize.
I was going to say, how do you get the incentive? Because nobody wants, every teenager will be like, oh God, more work, you know, more homework. So it's just that incentive.
Yeah, make an incentive, make it a family project so the parents are getting involved as well. So don't remove yourself completely. Make sure you're involved also. Even when they're watching the videos, you sit by them, watch the videos. Reading the stories, you're the one reading the story to them, you know. And with the project, you're also making your own presentation. That'll probably teach you as a parent a lot more about Hajj that you probably never even knew.
Absolutely, and just go through the struggles that the teenagers are going through, because I know that just some of the things that they're learning is quite tough. And I have to admit, I'm glad that I am where I am today. But you've mentioned some of the resources, are there any specific resources that you can mention that could be helpful and that would be help parents?
Yeah, so there are some books available online. If you go there are a few books. One of them is called My First Hajj. You've got books, but there's various authors out there. And I think it's best that people do a search online rather than me mentioning some of the authors' names today.
Yeah.
But what they can do, if they want to find really specific products, on my social media and on my YouTube channel, I will be talking about this. So people can go over there, they can follow, and the video will come out where they can find the books, the videos, and all the specific resources that we're thinking about.
And that is Dadhood.
That is Dadhood. That's
I
correct.
love the name. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And what other topics do you talk about on Dadhood, very quickly?
Yeah, so on Dadhood, it's mainly focused around fathers, Muslim fathers. And it's just about, you know, mainly where the idea came from is that I didn't really, when my wife was pregnant, I didn't really see anything there for Muslim fathers. I didn't know how the pregnancy process is meant to go. What about in the first few years the child you know, comes in? What about how to kind of handle the toddler years? So I kind of go through various different topics to give fathers a bit better understanding, whether they're just about to become fathers and the wife's pregnant, whether they've already become fathers, they've got toddlers, etc. So it's all sorts of things. And there's also a podcast to it. So we bring on Muslim fathers who are much more experienced than me. I've only got small children, but we'll have those who are much older, who have elder children, and get their years of experience and share that with those who are new fathers.
Oh, fantastic. So that's Dadhood. Check it out. Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much. We'll have to get you on and talk more about
Inshallah.
other subjects as well. So Jazakallah khair.